I first heard this music when I was a student at the University of Chicago, and I couldn't believe how beautiful it was. It was unlike the music I was used to, as if time had stopped, or perhaps as if all time was present at once. I wanted to know what kind of culture produced music like this. This was one of the first steps for me in becoming a contemplative monk. We decided to found the choir Schola Laudis in 2012 as a way of reintroducing the music of the 15th and 16th centuries into the celebration of evening prayer, or what we call Vespers. Well, we do Vespers every night because we're monks, and that's part of the life. It's part of the prayer that we do every night. But we discovered that there was a lot of music for polyphonic choir, men's and women's voices, that wasn't being used in the church. These pieces that we sing are quite interesting because they mostly come from the 15th and 16th centuries, so they're quite ancient. This was a high point in Catholic culture in Europe, and some of the greatest composers ever were composing at this time. But the music's not very well known today because it's so old, and a lot of the music hasn't been done in probably hundreds of years.
We've been performing pieces that haven't been performed, but in some cases for centuries. My favorite part is to work with these amazing musicians, very skilled. Many of these are professional singers that do this all the time for their living, and we get to make music that's connected to the history of the church in actually the correct liturgical situation.
So you have the monks on one side and you have the choir on the other. So it's kind of like the apostles on one side and the angels on the other. So it was really kind of cool.
As a monk, it's an opportunity to praise God, and so that's probably my favorite. But as a person who's in the world as well, my favorite part is having people share it with us.
I come to the Vesper services. It's a way to connect to my Christian side. It brings me to a point of spiritual connectedness that I don't feel in other situations.
These aren't concerts. The music is part of an entire aesthetic experience of light, shadow, color, motion, and stillness. In today's hectic world, the monastery is a place to come and be refreshed. The difference between Vespers and the Mass is the Mass is the high point of the Catholic liturgy. It's the sacrifice of the Eucharist, and it's generally reserved to Catholics who are in good standing with the Church. But the outreach of the Church isn't just limited to Catholics. We want to invite people to all kinds of things, and Vespers, again, anybody who's interested in beautiful music and a spiritual experience will profit from being at Vespers.
I come to Vespers because as a lifelong Catholic, I discovered the first time I was here that I actually felt God being here listening to this music.
So this experience is not just a Catholic experience, it's not just a Christian experience. It's an experience for everyone who can feel the beauty of the music.
We now host Solemn Vespers once every month, and we open the church to whoever would like to join us to hear this beautiful music, to pray with us or just to listen quietly and meditate.
Walking into this ancient building and smelling the incense when you come in, and then just being swept up in the music, I just think is absolutely breathtakingly beautiful.
It's an experience for anyone who can enjoy the history of all the beautiful stained glass windows around you and the history of the church.
There's no test at the door to make sure you're qualified to come. It's not a concert, there's no admission or anything like that. We want to make this available for as many people as possible.
I'm kind of a history person too, so if you're not just talking about being Catholic, being Christian, you can kind of pour back into the history of the church, of music. Some of these songs, all these songs, they're older than the United States of America.
We chose to be in the city to be near the persons whom we serve. We've often felt that in a big city, having a place where one encounters silence and beauty is very important for our spiritual health.
Having talked to people who've never heard of Vespers, I've said that it's just so beautiful. It's so fascinating and enriching and engrossing and really just a beautiful, beautiful experience.
The high point of Vespers is the Magnificat, the song of praise sung by the Virgin Mary. And what's really beautiful about this is that high on the western wall of the church, there's a stained glass window that depicts this scene. So as we're singing these words, the sun is streaming through that golden window as it's setting.
Come for the experience at the monastery to hear amazing music in an amazingly beautiful setting, sung by expert musicians. I would hope that the people who attend Vespers would get out of it a feeling of being closer to God. Just tonight at Vespers, one woman who was leaving said she felt like she was in heaven. And that's what we should feel like. That's what it should be like. We should want to get to heaven because it should be something beautiful.